This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, Sutripta को बोलो. Please start.
This conference will now be recorded.
Please record.
At the beginning itself, I request all to kindly mute their microphone. All participants, kindly mute your microphones. I welcome all to the 10th edition of International Conference of Sustainable Waste Management towards Circular Economy 2020, which is being organized by the International Society of Waste Management, Air and Water, ISWMAW, Center for Sustainable Development and Resource Efficiency Management, Jadavpur University, India, Center for Sustainable Technology, Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, India. The sponsors of the event are Sintef, Norway, Divi's Laboratory, India, Indian Oil Corporation, Pipeline Division, India. The organizing partners of the event are UNCRD, UNIDO, Rostock University, DBFZ Germany, CISET IGES Japan, SASEP Sri Lanka, Sunway University Malaysia, Central Bicol State University of Agriculture Philippines, IPLA and CRIC. On behalf of the 10th IconSWM-CE 2020, we express our gratitude to all the speakers, chairs, sponsors, principal organizers, organizing partners, members in the committees, participants and their sponsoring organizations, hall management and the organizers for their support and participation. We are glad to inform that over 700 delegates from 44 countries, UNCRD, UNIDO, and UNEP, under these stressed pandemic condition COVID-19 situation, will be joining the event in different sessions to make 240 presentations during December 2nd to 7th, 2020, hoping to present a meaningful event. Looking forward to see you in the 11th ICON SWM-CE 2021 for the benefit of environment, mankind, and living creatures. 10th ICON SWM-CE 2020 is the official pre-event of the 11th Regional 3R and Circular Economy Forum to be held at Russia in 2021 by UNCRD and MOE Japan. The International Society of Waste Management, Air, Water and ICON SWM-CE was founded by Professor Shadan Kumar Ghosh in 2009 to promote environmentally sound, solid and liquid waste management policies and practices, air and water pollution control practices, general environment protection awareness, and promote circular economy, 3R and resource efficiency concept to achieve sustainable development and to build a resilient, resource-efficient society. The ISWMAW supports research, policy formulation, implementation, and awareness generation on Sustainable Development Goals 2030 and has been supporting a number of research projects in India and abroad in the areas of waste management and resource efficiency. I now hand over the microphone to Dr. Kanishka Sarkar to proceed with the next part.
Thank you, Dr. Sutripta Sarkar. We thank the delegates joining the 10th IconSWM-CE 2020 from UNCRD, UNEP, UNIDO, and Bangladesh, Bhutan, Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, China, Egypt, Ethiopia, France, Georgia, Germany, Hungary, India, Indonesia, Japan, Lebanon, Malaysia, Mexico, Morocco, Myanmar, Nepal, Thailand, Nigeria, Norway, Philippines, Portugal, Rwanda, Russia, Saudi Arabia, South Korea, Spain, Tanzania, Thailand, Togo Republic, Turkey, Uganda, UK, Uruguay, USA, Vietnam, and Zambia. Participants are requested to be in mute mode and camera off. Write questions in chat box only. After the inaugural ceremony, 3 halls will be opened. You choose your session and join. I now invite Professor Sadhan Kumar Ghosh to preside over the inaugural program and to start the proceedings with a welcome speech. Kindly unmute sir.
Very good morning to all the delegates and the guests who are present today, this morning in the inaugural program. I welcome you all and I express my gratitude to all the speakers, chairs, sponsors, principal organizers, organizing partners, members in national and international committee, participants and their sponsoring organization, hall management and the organizers for their support and participation in 10th International Conference on Sustainable Waste Management towards Circular Economy, which we started the journey in 2009. And with this time, the IconSWM and ISWMAW, International Society of Waste Management, Air and Water, is becoming and is gaining the maturity and is spreaded throughout at least 50 countries all over the world. It has a number of activities, awareness program, research program, and other outreach programs. So why the IconSWM and the movement related to this is becoming more and more important? Because the most important thing is the extraction of raw material that has been more than doubled between 1990 and 2017 and is projected to be double again by 2060 as per the OECD 2019. Non-natural material stocks accumulated in buildings, infrastructure, machineries and production are very crucial in consideration of the resource efficiency and conservation. For years together, we have extracted material, we have consumed material without thinking of the sustainability of the system, sustainability of the society. And as a matter of fact, in the year of 2019 and 20, we have come to such a situation that we are now at a challenged situation. It is being, our existence is now being challenged by many of the situations, and the last situation which we are facing all over the world is the COVID-19 pandemic. Efforts have been taken to improve the recycling rates, have been taken by many of the countries. Recycling still only contributes only 12% of inflow of stocks. As the volume of the material consumption is increasing at faster rates, the environmental impacts are projected to multifold in the decades to come, with adverse consequences for human health, ecosystem, and the economy, as well as environmental, economic, and social consequences in the countries and cross boundaries. The recent sustainable goals, 2030, having 17 goals, 230 indicators, targets with meaning, people, planet, prosperity, and peace and partnership. This needs to be promoted throughout the world and has to be implemented in all the countries. domestic material consumption is one of the very important things, and we have to target to reduce it and think of the sustainable development for our future generation, for us at present. India and other developing countries need to focus on resource efficiency using sustainable, innovative technologies and establishing the concept of circular economy and 3R. Of course, it needs a very robust and close interaction and cooperation. Pentagonal cooperation among all the actors like government, academia, research organization, industries, countries in collaboration, and international organizations including NGO and the civil society for the implementation of the resource efficiency in the nations is the only key. Of course, in India, we have number of initiatives in mainly the countries like Brazil. They have a very, very efficient bioeconomy. In the country like Japan, Thailand, Korea, there are a lot of initiatives which are supporting the sustainable development. In, of course, the European countries, they have a lot more for the learning for all other regions in the world. So with these concepts and background in mind, the ICON SWM-CE is launching this program and initiating the 5-day program from today onwards. I must thank all of you who are supporting this movement, and I'm very happy to announce that we have number of collaborations with nearly 45 countries for this ICON SWM and promoting the circular economy and 3R concepts. We have number of publications out of as a outcome of these researches. We invite more number of research projects and publication projects from the people who are joining this program and who are also not joining this program outside the boundary. With this, I once again thank all of you, and I wish that you will enjoy and learn many things and also share many things with all of us for our improvement on the specific topic. With this, I thank you all. Thank you very much. Over to the organizer. Konishko? All right. So I believe that the organizers have some problem in the sound. So I was requested to conduct this inaugural program. So now I request Dr. Rene van Bekel. He is the representative of UNIDO in India, and he has been instrumental for support from UNIDO to this ICON SWM movement for quite a long time. So I now request Rene to please say a few words, and our time is limited, so please constrict this speech within 5 minutes. Rene, over to Rene.
Thank you, Professor Ghosh. Good morning, namaskar to everyone, dignitaries on the dais, ladies and gentlemen in all around the world. I would like to firstly applaud the organizing committee of ICON SWM for putting this conference together. Sustainable waste management and circular economy are dear to the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, or UNIDO, and hence I'm pleased to deliver a message of support and on behalf of UNIDO. UNIDO works within the Sustainable Development Goals on inclusive and sustainable industrial development and innovation under the SDG 9. And this includes, or this is very key also to the circular economy and to sustainable waste management or industrializing waste management. The core idea of circular economy is quite simple. So changing from linear to take out, manufacture, and then dispose to circular, where we don't dispose, but we use, recycle, and continue to use. But we notice that the circular economy means many different things to different people. Throughout this, however, one thing is clear, that circular economy doesn't stop with a recycling economy, or one would rather say that circular economy aims to try to get rid of recycling in the first place by avoiding the need to recycle. And CE is not just a topic for waste management, but indeed a transformative agenda for industry, business, and the society at large. The two words connect: circular, which is like a perpetual and endless flow of natural resources, with economy, business models that retain value from endless natural resource flows. So CE, circular economy, is profoundly a business and industry agenda. Only industry and business have the technological, managerial, and financial resources to develop and introduce the products and services that ultimately turn circular economy into action. Industry responses are basically to circularize, to just adjust any businesses to the requirements of a circular economy, or to become circular and make circularity a core business. We see practical solutions then, or at three operational levels. I would call them just firstly resource switch, to eliminate the inputs which are non-circular and taking nature as an inspiration. We can then talk about chemicals-free water purification, solar energy, renewable inputs to different material products and services. The second one, I would say, is resource efficiency. So we need to slow down the cycles of natural resources in society to make it easier to close material cycle. That is essentially the work on resource efficiency, clean production that UNIDO, UNEP, and other agencies have been promoting for years. And then the third part, the operational part, is the resource circularity, where we create wealth out of waste and take and then close material cycles. That is basically the production of, for example, sanitary napkins from waste banana fiber, or extracting valuable chemicals from different organic waste streams. There are plenty of opportunities already there for business and for society at large, but we need a conducive policy framework. And in a lot has been said. This cannot be just a waste management or environmental policy. We need, of course, to first and foremost discourage disposal. As I have said on other occasions, we need to basically close the back door. There should be no other way to go for waste than into recycling or reuse. So that is one issue where we need to work on landfill regulations, bans, economic liability, and related issues. Then I think there's a scope for economic policy to basically reward circular practices. So we need to reward. We can do that through public procurements, through setting standards for recycled and reused recovered materials and related ones. And then the third point, I guess, is that we need to also encourage and foster innovation. So in lifestyle and consumption patterns, in business models, and the products and services. And that requires education and innovation policy. We've, for our work in India and the UN country team, we've looked at how can we now get some momentum for this circular economy. And I think that in addition to mapping out all the policy options, we can also think about it conceptually. And I think that there is a need for assessment and for direction and for achieving. So we need to improve the understanding of key resource flows and their economic, environmental, and social impact. So we are still operating at a little bit of a lacune of data on resource use. Then we need to create a capacity to govern those resource flows in civil society, in government, and in business. And then ultimately, we need also to look at ways that we can achieve or accelerate the development and implementation through catalytic efforts. We cannot change in one day or in one turn the entire economy around, but we should rather look for accelerators or catalysts. So could we focus, and that has very much been the work of UNIDO, let's take a few sectors, a few cities or plastics or materials or sectors like textiles to focus and put our attention around circular economy. And in that way, we can then catalyze interest and motivation for driving the circular economy forward. So with this, I will conclude my remarks. I do indeed look forward to hearing and learning more over the coming days. Thank you very much. UNIDO is very pleased to be a supporter of this initiative. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Berkel. It's very nicely you just explained circular economy. Of course, UNIDO is doing a lot of work to support different countries to promote circular economy, specifically in industries. So Thank you very much. So now we have our friend, Mr. Rohit Kumar. He is an IAS in the Indian Administrative Service. He is Joint Secretary in the Ministry of Rural Development and also the JS for MGNREGA. It's a big program in India. So I now invite Mr. Rohit Kumar to please speak for 5 minutes. Mr. Kumar, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Professor Sadhan Ghosh. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes, you are audible and we can see also.
Thank you, sir. Dear Professor Sadhan Ghosh, all distinguished speakers of this inaugural session, and dear participants. It's indeed a privilege for me to share my thoughts to you all, and my sincere thanks to Professor Ghosh for creating this opportunity. As you know, India has traditionally been a frugal society eschewing wastefulness, reusing and recycling products, making these last beyond its intended purposes. However, with the advent of consumerism, generation of huge waste due to changing consumption pattern is posing a significant challenge worldwide as well as in India. Some amount of waste are also being generated in rural areas due to the changing consumption pattern referred to above. The challenge, therefore, before us is to raise the standard of the living of the people of not only India but the entire world. That will be comparable to any international standards, but it would be manageable within the finite resources available on Earth, and also ensuring that their use remain sustainable and hence the need of resource efficiency. Therefore, it is essential to develop a vision for circular economy in which resources once assessed continue to be used for perpetuity or given back to the nature. Further, the circular economy can also aid India in its journey towards national security and goal of Atmanirbhar Bharat, that is self-sufficiency. Concept of circular economy promises a way out through improved longevity of products, waste minimization, sharing, renting, repair and reuse to maximize product value before returning it to the environment safely. And as all of us know, Sustainable Development Goal number 12 on sustainable consumption and production has also envisaged important role for the circular economy. There are various steps that are being taken in rural India towards this. To name a few, we have been emphasizing on the principle of 3 Rs, not only in policy and practice, but also in every stage of our value chain. Particularly in rural context, the focus is on circularity in agriculture. As you know, India, almost 60 to 65% of the people, they are dependent on agriculture. Further, also, since rural India has seen significant surge in construction over past decade, focus also on circularity in construction sector, which is equally important. There are also important sectors pertaining to circularity in rural areas, the habitation level waste, the industrial waste in case of MSMEs in rural areas, and also increasingly some automatic and electrical and electronic waste. Some useful legislation such as National Waste Management Rules 2016, E-Waste Management Rules, Plastic Waste Management Rules has also added in the path towards circular economy. A special mention to the use of green technology, including recycled plastic waste in road construction under Pradhan Mantri Gramin Sadak Yojana, that is called PMGSY. Special emphasis on regeneration agriculture and leveraging the scheme like Mahatma Gandhi NREGS towards the same. Ensuring successful setup of O&M of solid liquid waste resource management activities in the rural areas is one of them. The government has taken a lot of initiatives to encourage utilization of fly ash, slags and red mud in concrete as substitute for other binders. Other important aspect that is also being seen is the crop residue management and so on and so forth. Now, I will not take much of time as all these initiatives are going to be discussed and deliberated at length in this conference. I once again congratulate Professor Sadhan Ghosh and the entire team, organizing team, and all the other esteemed panelists for organizing this conference. And I'm sure a lot of learning going to come out from me and myself would be enriching from it. Once again, thank you so much, and I wish all the success for this international conference. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Rohit Kumar ji. And that's right, that with the help of the administration in the Ministry of Rural Development, India's villages are gaining much of interest in not only the waste management but also circularity of different resources. So thank you for the initiatives which have been and are being taken by the Rural Development Ministry and of course also the MOHUA. So thank you, Mr. Kumar. Now, you know that we have received more than 240 abstracts and a partly full paper for this conference to be presented. So all those will be presented in next couple of days. And each of the year we publish a proceedings of the abstract, and that is released on the inaugural session. So now it is the time, of course, as it is a virtual mode, only a few copies in our secretariat we have printed, and the abstract has been sent to all the people just in the morning itself. So we request all of you, including our Vice Chancellor, Professor Suranjan Das. He is present here. His inaugural address will be just after this. We want to release this book, and this is the first page we are showing to all of you so that it is announced, released by our Vice Chancellor. So please. I request those who has this page, please display. So now I request our Vice Chancellor, Professor Suranjan Das, to please declare that the abstract is open. The proceedings is open.
I declare the abstract and proceedings open.
Thank you, sir. So now I request Professor Suranjan Das, he is the Vice Chancellor of our university, Jadavpur University, to address the inaugural program. Because why we have put the inaugural lecture at the very beginning, because he has an emergency meeting just after this program. So maybe he has to leave after the inaugural speech. So I now request Professor Das to please address. Over to you.
Thank you, Professor Sadhan Ghosh, and thank you also for outlining some of the impediments that come along with holding academic administration offices, particularly in India, where although I would have liked to stay and listen to the deliberations, but I am forced not to do it. Anyway, those are the predicaments of holding office. But could I, at the very outset, congratulate and compliment Professor Sadhan Ghosh and his colleagues for organizing this conference, which I'm sure would be extremely academically fruitful, valuable. I also welcome on my own behalf and on behalf of the entire university community all the distinguished participants from within the country and abroad for participating in this virtual meeting. Of course, we would have liked to hold it on a physical mode, but as you know, in view of the pandemic, we are forced not to do it. As I see it, the theme of the conference, Sustainable Waste Management, needs to be viewed in the context of the UN Sustainable Goals. And I do congratulate the organizers for putting this particular objective very clearly in the approach paper. I will not take much of your time, but what I would like to do is to emphasize 2 points for your kind consideration. One is, there is no doubt that there has been significant progress in terms of theoretical exercises in linking environmental management to the notion of sustainable development and sustainable goals. And I'm sure this particular conference will also open new points for further enriching this discourse. But as a social scientist, I feel that there are 2 significant gaps which need to be addressed in implementing the notion of sustainable goals, particularly in the context of sustainable waste management. The first is, as I see it, there is a considerable failure in linking the discourses on environmental management with the discourses on economic growth. This is true not only for the developing countries like India, but also this is particularly true for the developed countries, because the recent researches have shown the developmental process that had been initiated in the north or the developed countries has contributed significantly to the destruction of environmental balance. But this failure of linking the fruits of discourses on environmental management with the discourses on economic growth has, I think, been a significant failure in our developmental processes throughout the world, and this is amply proved by the outbreak of the current COVID pandemic. I hope that this particular seminar, while discussing the various intricacies of sustainable waste management in the context of sustainable developmental goals, will also issue guidelines or develop formulations how we can bridge this particular gap. The second failure, as I see it, is the absence of what is called the science communication. There has been an effective failure on the part of the scientific community, and this I relate not only to India but all over the world, of development or formulating an effective science communication discourse or policy, so that the fruits of research in the laboratories, fruits of research in the classrooms are disseminated amongst the broader sections of the civil society. And unless this link between the society and science is developed, is forged, no matter how we progress in terms of laboratory experiments, in terms of classroom lectures, in terms of discourses on science, we will be forced with facing another pandemic. We need to develop a scientific consciousness among the general sections of the society, so that they become aware of the needs of environmental management, so that become aware of the needs of sustainable waste management, so that the fruits of researches in these fields become linked to the broader needs of the society. In social science, what we need to address the dialectics between social science aspiration, between the societal aspirations, needs, and hopes with the development of science and technology. I think there is an essential gap in this particular field, and I hope, as the distinguished participants again discuss the various aspects of sustainable waste management, may also come out with the development of or an evolution of an effective science communication policy, so that the fruits of their discourses, fruits of their resources, fruits of their academic engagement can be disseminated among the broader sections of society. As I conclude, I am reminded of a very pertinent remark of the famous philosopher Bertrand Russell, and I recall his pertinent remark that he made in the famous book, The Impact of Science on Society, a famous tract that he wrote long time back. And he concluded in this famous tract, The Impact of Science on Society, with the comment that science has a double-edged sword. That is a double-edged sword. Why a double-edged sword? A double-edged sword because it can both be constructive as well as destructive. And we need to ensure that science is used not for destructive purposes, but for constructive purposes, so that we can work together, the scientists and the civil society can work together to create a better world to live in. And I hope this particular session, this particular conference will provide new entry points of trying to develop a link between science and society, of trying to develop a link between the fruits of scientific development and research with the broader aspirations, needs, and necessities of the society. And this link need not be confined to a particular national boundary, but this needs to cross the national boundaries, and we need to develop an international science consciousness. The present pandemic has proved the immense necessity of creating this international scientific consciousness, and I'm sure that this conference can provide new ways out in this particular context. With these words, could I once again thank Professor Shardul Ghosh for virtually dragging me to this virtual session, and I wish this conference every success. And on behalf of Jadavpur University, I can assure that this university which has a firm commitment to develop a link between the campus and the outer concerns or the broader concerns of the society. It carries a rich nationalist legacy. It carries a legacy of people like Rabindranath Tagore. It carries a legacy of people, of national scientists who have created the development of national science and technology in India. That we are committed to develop this link between science and society so that science becomes an instrument of construction and not of destruction. With these words, could I once again thank Professor Ghosh and wish the conference every success. I'm sure it will be intellectually thought-provoking and extremely productive. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor Das, for your very thought-provoking speech. And of course, we are here to take the one side of the sword which has a double edge. Of course, and our movement is for that only. Thank you very much, sir, for your spending valuable time. So now I call upon Mr. C.R.C. Mohanty. He is in UNCRD looking into the environmental areas in Japan, and he has been instrumental to implement many of the policies and also implementations of ISWMAW and IconSWM. He acts as the co-chairman of 10th IconSWM-CE 2020, and UNCRD is always a very, very robust supporting pillar to IconSWM and ISWMAW. So now I request C.R.C. Mohanty to deliver the keynote speech of the inaugural program and the whole program. Over to Mr. Mohanty. Mr. Mohanty, we cannot hear you.
Okay, so am I audible now?
All right, now it is okay. Now it is okay.
Thank you, Professor Ghosh. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Suranjan Das, Mr. Rohit Kumar, Joint Secretary, dignitaries, distinguished delegates and participants. First of all, on behalf of UNCRD UNDASA, I would like to convey our deep appreciation to all the co-organizers, partners of this 10th International Conference on Sustainable Waste Management and Circular Economy. And specifically, we would like to recognize the role, that crucial role Professor Ghosh has been taking in advancing, this conference, and it is gradually becoming one of the largest congress on sustainable waste management and circular economy, which has been complementing the UNCRD-led Regional 3R and Circular Economy Forum in Asia Pacific in many ways. In fact, this forum is an official pre-event of our next 11th Regional 3R and Circular Economy Forum that is scheduled to be held in 2021. The conference is organized with an overarching theme of towards resource circulation society. I think this is a very befitting theme with the international community, while the international community are putting their efforts to achieve the SDGs, and resource security is key to achieve many of the SDGs. As you know, SDGs are universal in nature, bridging the gap between conventional approach to economic development, poverty eradication, environmental sustainability, and sustainable management of the natural resources. And currently, the question is that who is really consuming? Professor Ghosh was mentioning about the unprecedented growth in material consumption, the resource consumption. Who is actually consuming and where actually the resources are consumed? If you see, currently more than half of the global population live in the urban areas, and by 2050, it is going to be roughly 66% to 70%. And cities are growth engines contributing to 80% of the global GDP. They are responsible for 75% of the total greenhouse gas emissions and consuming roughly 70% of the all energy resources. And they are also equally responsible to consume 70% of all the resources. That means making the cities smart, resilient, livable, inclusive, and sustainable, what is called upon by SDG 11, is indispensable. Not only unprecedented level of urbanization, but also the material consumption of cities that will grow from 40 billion tons in 2010 to 90 billion tons by 2050. At the same time, many countries, including many Asia-Pacific countries, have become net importer of the raw materials, and the lasting supply security of resources, raw materials, water, minerals, timber, etc., enabled by circular economy will be a key underpinning factor in achieving many of the mutually reinforcing and interlinked global agendas and agreements such as the SDGs, the New Urban Agenda, the Paris Agreement on the Climate Change, Addis Ababa Action Agenda, Nairobi Mandate, and Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction, just to mention a few. And also to meet the material requirements for the living standards of the people and their livelihood security, to build or enhance urban resilience or resilience of the cities, and socio-economic, and ecological resilience of the cities when I talk about urban resilience. So the clear message is that we need to look more into the resource domain rather than the waste domain, what my colleague from UNIDO was emphasizing during his opening statements. Similarly, clean water, clean land, clean air, and clean ocean, and a zero waste society are fundamental requirements for the smart, resilient, livable communities, and also to achieve missions like Swachh Bharat mission, that is one of the India's ambitious mission in this century. And moving towards zero waste society is inherently linked to resource efficiency and circular economy, which is not a conventional economy. If you see Asia Pacific, still the majority of the countries are still pursuing the linear economy, where the wastes are traditionally thought of having no value. So circular economy is an economy where nothing is waste. Every waste has a potential economic value, which means wastes are eliminated by treating them as valuable resources. Indefinite use of products and materials are promoted. Demand for raw material, natural resources, water, energy are minimized. Pollution is prevented, land, water, air, and ocean, and efficiency is improved. 3R and circular economy offer an environmentally friendly alternative to deal with the growing waste generation and its related impact on human health, economy, and natural ecosystem, thus contributing to the urban resilience. In order to operationalize circular economy, we need to also build strong triangular cooperation between the government, research and development organizations, and the private sector. And if you look into the footprints of many smart, clean, and eco cities in the world, you will see a systematic collaboration between city and the business sector in advancing circular economy. So city supports business and the business supports city in a symbiotic way to advance circular economy. But to pursue 3R as an economic industry, it needs also tremendous intervention, technological interventions. I would like to say the frontier technologies such as IoT, 3D printing, Industry 4.0, robotics, cloud computing, blockchain technologies, nanotechnologies, green chemistry, etc. But access to such technologies remains a key issue for many of the developing countries. And for example, 18 escaped countries, if you see only 2% of people have access to ICT, and lack of access to such frontier technologies will further marginalize the developing countries and the least developed countries. So raising productivity will be key to reduce these inequalities, enhance social, economic, and ecological resilience. Let me turn into a little bit the water sector. The water security is at the heart of the circular economy and SDG, and we cannot achieve any conceivable form of sustainable development and SDGs without achieving the water security. Unfortunately, today many of the lifeline rivers and water bodies, for example in India including, are severely polluted due to rampant discharge of and dumping of various untreated waste. And many countries still pursue linear economy, where waste is traditionally thought of having no value and must be dumped and or landfill. So which is actually the root cause of many of these pollutions we face today. The growing demand of water in domestic, agriculture, and industry sector Along with these rising pollution problems and climate change critically affects our water security. Water scarcity has already hit 40% of the global population, and 2.1 billion people face water crisis worldwide. And circular economy means we must also decouple waste and our freshwater resources through circular economic utilization of all waste streams. We should also note that for every 1 degree centigrade increase in the global temperature, an additional 500 million people will face water scarcity. And it is extremely important to achieve full-scale operationalization of the Paris Climate Agreement in order to keep the average global temperature rise that is above pre-industrial level well below 1.5 degrees centigrade by end of this century. And to achieve this, we need to achieve carbon neutral society or net zero carbon by 2050. Among other areas such as renewable energy, ecosystem services, biodiversity conservation, electromobility, like people are talking about nowadays, e-vehicles, e-mobility, circular economy is an overarching principle in achieving synergies in national and international efforts to achieve SDGs and the Paris Climate Agreement. Let me just briefly mention about the advancement of e-mobility and e-vehicles worldwide to tackle the climate change and air pollution, because now many countries are embarking on promoting e-vehicles. While promoting e-mobility, countries should also put concerted efforts to build necessary recycling system and infrastructure to deal with the end-of-life batteries. Otherwise, it would trigger another set of environmental and health problems. So let us little bit look into the state of our oceans and their ecosystem. As you know, each year, an estimated 8 million tons of plastics ends up in our oceans, and at least 51 trillion microplastics are already in our ocean, critically affecting our food security. And most of these plastics waste in the ocean are from the urban areas leaked into the natural drainage and rivers. 10 rivers basically are the culprit, 8 from Asia Pacific and 2 from Africa. They contribute roughly 90% of these plastics in the ocean ecosystem, ocean environment. The only solution to plastic waste is not only the mass scale banning of single-use plastic, but also circular economic utilization of plastic. Plastics are now increasingly utilized as a road construction material, for example, in India, as building construction materials, for example, in Norway, and railway line crossbars, for example, in Australia, that I saw actually in 2016 in Adelaide, when we are organizing actually the 7th 3R Forum in Asia Pacific. These are just a few examples. So state of our natural resources and ecological assets determine the degree of our resilience to issues like climate change, increasing frequency and magnitude of natural disasters, and health emergencies like the COVID-19 pandemic that we are facing today. So let us note that 60% of these infectious diseases are zoonotic. That means they come from the animals to the humans. As human activities continues to disturb habitats and ecosystem worldwide, we are likely to witness more and more pathogens crossing from the wildlife to the human society in future. Therefore, how we manage our natural resources and ecological assets will be defining the level of our resilience. When I say resilience, it is social resilience, economic resilience, and ecological resilience. Ecological, social, and economic resilience are interrelated, and resilience in one dimension, you will actually trigger the resilience in other two dimensions. So lastly, let me conclude that all the member countries are concurrently addressing and implementing a number of these international agendas which are mutually interlinked and reinforcing, SDGs, the Paris Climate Agreement, the Habitat 3 New Urban Agenda, and all this. And the success of these agendas and agreements will largely depend on how effectively we integrate circular economic principles in our major development sectors: industries, SMEs, construction, transport, energy sector, forestry, agriculture, water sector, tourism, trade, and commerce. This is why you see the Hanoi 3R Declaration, which was adopted at the 4th Regional 3R Forum in Asia Pacific, is 33 goal that is linked to many of these developmental sectors. Not necessarily we are talking, the circular economy in the context of the waste management. So more in the context of resource domain. Lastly, UNCID is implementing two flagship initiatives, the Regional 3R and Circular Economy Forum in Asia Pacific, and the Regional Environmentally Sustainable Transport, where cities and national governments are actively discussing how to achieve safe, resilient, inclusive, low carbon and sustainable cities and communities in Asia Pacific, because at the end, the cities are the most, the consumers. And currently, UNCID is organizing actually the 10th Regional 3R Forum, 3R and Circular Economy Forum in Asia Pacific, which is composed of 6 webinars. In fact, the first webinar was held on 24th of November. Many of you have already participated, and this will be held between 24th November to 22nd December, the last one. And the IconSWM and the Society for Waste Management, Air and Water has been a very strong partner actually, providing technical input and synergizing the efforts that we are putting on under this umbrella of the Regional 3R in Asia Pacific. With this one, I would like to thank once again Professor Ghosh for taking this immense leadership in advancing circular economy in Asia Pacific, and we are committed to support this process that is very much aligned with the objective of SDGs and also very much aligned with the objectives of the Regional 3R in Asia Pacific. Thank you so much, Professor Ghosh.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mohanty, for your very, speech with wider perspective. Of course, we must take the ecological assets to be sustainably used for a resilient society. And it's not only the waste management, it's many other things. Like in SDG 13, there are 17 goals. For sustainable development, we have to look into most of those goals. Of course, there is debate that whether it is very tough or very easy. So that's an issue. Always it will be there for any of the better thing, any of the good things which will happen. But ultimately, we have to do a lot and we have to achieve it. So with this, thank you very much once again, and for your continuous support to IconSWM movement. Now, Mr. K. Onogawa, he is the director of CCET IJS Japan. He is also one of the co-chairman of 10th IconSWM 2020. And he has been doing tremendously good work for a couple of decades. And he was conferred the Lifetime Achievement IconSWM Lifetime Achievement Award 2019. So I request you to please deliver your speech for 5 minutes, and over to Onogawa.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Ghosh. Thank you for inviting me as one of partners of this conference. We are very much happy to be able to collaborate with this conference to promote sustainable waste management. It is also a good opportunity for us to share our works with you. First of all, I would like to thank Professor Ghosh and his team for their tireless work for organizing this series of conferences. Without such an effort of his team, it is impossible to continue to have this kind of activities. Thank you very much for Professor Ghosh. Ladies and gentlemen, currently, waste management faces many problems, including those of plastics, endemic waste from COVID-19, all of which would be subjects of discussions at this conference. Yes, it is true that those issues are giving big impacts on our environment, health, business, and societies. This conference itself is also affected, and we are organizing this event online this year. However, Among others, I would like to reiterate the importance of the usual and continued operations of waste management, having the reliable day-to-day operation of the ordinary waste management in our society as an essential social service for the general public. I believe it is important to remember the starting point of our efforts for the waste management, which is provision of the sustainable waste management to the general public and the society. It's not a simple technology issue, not a simple legislative issue, but a social issue with a participation of all the stakeholders, including public, private, and business sectors. Through the experiences we have learned from current plastic and COVID-19 waste problems, we understand that these problems are caused by mismanagement of waste in our society. Even if waste management is not responsible for all, you would agree that waste management has closely related to these problems. Conditions of operation of the waste management are different by a country to another. That is why in some countries, those problems are so serious issues. But in some other countries, we see very little problematic situations due to different conditions of their daily waste management. Maintaining such a good operation of our day-to-day waste management is a key, not only for providing a basic social service in the society, but also to avoid additional ad hoc problems which we are facing currently. We have recognized the roles and the functions waste management can play through the current waste management problems. It is a good opportunity for us to reconfirm the responsibility of us in the waste management, which will provide us with further encouragement to work on this subject. I wish you all the success of this conference through your active participation and discussions in this conference. See you in the sessions. Thank you very much, Professor Ghosh.
Thank you, Onogawa. Thank you, Onogawa-san, for your remarkable mention of mismanagement of waste in society. Of course, there are number of solutions and the number of best practices of implementation in many countries. So in that way, we will go ahead with both the things simultaneously. One is the improvement, another is the management. So mismanagement will reduce and management will go ahead and increase in all the society. So thank you very much, Onogawa-san. And now I request Professor M. Nellis. He is the professor of Rostock University, Germany, and he is also the co-chairman of 10th IconSWM. Nellis, with his team from the Rostock University and also his partners in China, has been supportive and instrumental for implementation of many of the activities of ICON from the very beginning. So we must thank him. And I request Nellis to please speak for 5 minutes. And over to you, Nellis.
Thank you very much, Professor Ghosh. Firstly, I have to thank you and your team. You did a great job in the last 10 years, and also this year it is a very complicated situation in the pandemic, but you made it, and we have a great conference starting today, and it's a pleasure for me to attend and give some remarks. We heard a lot of important issues in the last presentations and visits of the conference. And first of all, you said I'm responsible for the German Biomass Research Center. This is a governmental center, and I talked to Julia Klöckner. She's a federal minister of this Ministry for Agriculture. Is a sole shareholder, and this is important because this ministry is also cooperating with a lot of Indian institutes, and she said it's very important to involve our activities in this conference. Also, I talked yesterday with our president from the Rostock University, Professor Scharek, and he also congratulated you to the great job for this conference. I'm in the board of the German Association for Waste Management, and I'm responsible for the international activities. So this is also a point where we work together in the past, and also I hope in the future. Some remarks to the conference. I think in the future, latest on 2050, we need a global sustainable system for living on this planet, and therefore we have a long way to go. One important issue is that we have to change the economy system to a real circular economy, and not only the waste management sector. From my point of view, we need a 100% renewable energy system. That we are working hard, but we have a long way to go if you see the development in the global scale. And we also need to transfer the fossil economy to a bio-based economy. This is also a point where we are working on the DBFZ in Germany. And the solid waste management is a key issue to go in this direction on bio-based economy, also on the new energy system. Therefore, we need an exchange of innovative technologies and also knowledge transfer. And this was the reason I thought you create this conference, the ICON Solid Waste Management Conference in India 10 years ago. And once more, it was a great job and is a great job from you and your team. And I hope I can give a little support with my teams from Germany. So I congratulate and give the best wishes to the 10th ICON Solid Waste Management Conference on virtual, and I yes, next year once more directly in India. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nales. And I wish that next year we all will be physically meeting in November for 11th IconSWM. Thank you very much, and Nales, convey my regards and thanks to the president of DBFZ for his greetings. Now I don't think that the next speaker is here, Professor Dr. Kare H. Karstenen. Are you here, Kare? However, I believe that he's not here, but let us invite our one of the very close friends and associate like Meles, Professor P. Agamuthu. He is the professor in Sunway University, Malaysia, and he is also the editor-in-chief of the Waste Management and Research. And he is an instrumental for us to issue the special issues of journal out of the papers which are submitted to this IconSWM. So I like to invite Professor Agamuthu to please speak for 5 minutes. Over to Agamuthu. I saw him sometime back, but all right, Agamuthu, will come back again to you later. Now the next speaker, our good friend from industry, Mr. M. Rao Divi's. He is the director of Divi's Laboratory, and he has a very good story. Of course, we will not listen to that story now, because he started a very small journey in business, and now he has a turnover of more than 800 crores in Indian rupee, if I am not wrong. So, and they are practicing a lot of principles of 3R and circular economy. So over to Divis. Please speak for 5 minutes.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Dr. Ghosh and Dr. Mohanty and others of all the chairs, speakers, participants from different countries and organizers of the 10th IconSWM-CE 2020. I hope all the participants and their near and dear ones are good in health during the pandemic. This pandemic posed challenges to everyone in many possible ways, but as an environmentalist, should I feel good that COVID-19 helped in environmental improvement globally? Less industrial activity coupled with less vehicular traffic resulted in low carbon emissions. This made the ambient air much cleaner and reducing the carbon footprint that was thought never be possible. It is also observed by the Global Footprint Network that there is an increase in the Earth's biocapacity due to reduced consumption of resources in this lockdown period. However, as things are going back to normal, the usual unfortunate exploitation of resources will return, and the overshoot day will continue to pose a very serious threat to mankind. We are here once again to tackle this challenging problem and to do something for betterment of environment and our own survival. We all gathered here to discuss, share, learn about the adoption of circular economy and value recovery, a new approach. We at Divis are at the end of real implementation of all the ideas on circular economy or the value recovery. Since inception of the company, we strive for a better environment through value recovery management approach, which is now widely popular as a circular economy. All the participating in this conference are birds of the same feather, the environmentalists. Under Dr. Ghosh and Dr. Mohanty's leadership, a large knowledge bank is developed on sustainable waste management. We at Divis, as one of the largest bulk drug manufacturing industry, naturally also producing large quantities of waste, not producing, I'm sorry, or generating a large quantities of waste, have taken the lead to practice sustainable waste management and are happy to share our experiences in successful implementing hundreds of projects, resulting in great achievements in terms of circular economy, value recovery, not to mention that the great support given by the additional revenue to the company. The projects include direct recovery and reuse, heat recovery, pressure utilizations, reprocess, water balances, etc. These have been possible only due to the strong R&D efforts, the new engineering technologies, the new thinking process, exploring different ways and means of applying value recovery and circular economy. Capital investments needed, fortunately, with a quick ROI, return on investment, and adding to the clean additional revenue. We are also very active in involving several stakeholders as partners for green, what we call P4G, in this circular economy and value recovery actions. Actions are very well documented and motivated through continual reviews and reporting eventual changes in lowering the carbon footprint GHG by reporting certified carbon footprint and GHG reports each year. We are also presenting a paper on Divis actions on circular economy and value recovery systems, and I look forward to your review. Gentlemen, Divis are here to share the knowledge that we are gaining in implementation of the 12 hours circular economy and value recovery systems. I look forward to join the meeting and learn new ideas from various speakers, sharpening our approaches for the treatment. Thank you, Dr. Ghosh, for the opportunity, and God bless you all for the environment. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you, Mr. Rao. In your factory, there are a lot of learnings from others. I know very well. I have been in discussing with you. So thank you for your sharing, and I know that you will be also sharing in different sessions. So I once again check whether Mr. Binay Jha, he is the director in Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, and and yeah, he's there or not. I'm checking, and of course I'll go to the next speaker. Okay, I can see Dr. Alberto N. Naperi. He is our new friend in this journey, and from the last webinar when we conducted with the Indo-Philippine program, I really dragged him to this field, and now I saw that though his field is different, but he has a great interest in this process. So in that way, he is also one of the supporting organization for this IconSWM. His university, he is the president and vice chancellor of the Central Bicol State Agricultural University in Philippines. I request Professor Alberto to say a few words. Over to Alberto.
Thank you very much, Professor Goss. To the organizer of the 10th International Conference on Sustainable Waste Management Towards Circular Economy, headed by its chairman and president of International Society of Waste Management, Air and Water, Professor Sadha Kumar Goss, to the partners and sponsors of this event, to the plenary speakers and presenters of new technologies, innovations, and research outputs regarding waste management towards circular economy, my greetings of peace and safety. Barely 3 months have passed when we first joined the activity of International Society of Waste Management, Air and Water. And our university believes and joined the vision of this organization to sincerely look into resolving the waste pollution that is now affecting the balance of our ecology. No need to mention how we are being punished by our inaction in reducing our human waste. Just recently, our region was devastated by 3 super typhoons, and this brought havoc and destroyed millions of infrastructures and agricultural products. In my university alone, the destructions cost us almost 88 million, and we are hard up to recover and attain the state of normalcy. I consider this no longer acts of God, but already act of man, as we failed to preserve the balance of our nature. We cut down trees without planting one. We dispose our garbage anywhere so that it clogs waterways, and the result is inundation of our streets. So that the concept of reduce, reuse, and recycle remains as concept, and its implementation is facing so much resistance from the community. That is why we are intensifying our recovery plan, anchored through our extension program, focused on technology management training, farm or business advisory, coaching and mentoring in order to achieve post-harvest losses. Likewise, we are spearheading the reduction of agricultural wastage and generating byproducts utilization to contribute much to circular economy. And today, we are humbled to share to everybody in this activity 5 research outputs in advancing circular economy in the Philippines, more inclined in waste management in agriculture. But what makes this activity more exciting are the experiences in the sharing of best practices being undertaken by our different partners from around the world. This is a very proactive gesture in resolving waste pollution, as it could serve as a model worthy of emulation. Hence, it is imperative for all of us to share technologies and innovations towards achieving a total package on waste management and circular economy. Again, my congratulations to the organizers, plenary speakers, and presenters. Let it be our goal to continue helping each other and arrest waste pollution problem by integrating in our daily activity an effort to promote circular economy. Thank you very much and keep safe always. Thank you so much, Professor Ghosh.
Thank you, Professor Alberto. Thank you for your special interest in this conference, and also I am very happy that we could initiate a number of activities in your university through this conference platform. So before I go for the Thanksgiving session to Dr. Chanakya, I like to explore that whether Dr. Kare is here or not. Dr. Kare? Dr. Kare? Professor Agamuthu or Mr. Vinay? No, I don't think that they are here. So just after the Thanksgiving ceremony of inaugural, we will request all the participants here to open your camera so that our secretariat can take a full team picture. And one more is, there is a feedback that our book could not be seen properly whenever we displayed release. So we'll once again just display the book with all of you so that my team can take a photo. So don't leave after the Thanksgiving by Dr. Chanakya. Dr. Chanakya is also one of the person who is very closely associated with us since 2019. He is a chief research scientist at Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and he is also the co-chairman of our IconSWM. So I'll now request Dr. Chanakya to raise the vote of thanks. Before I hand over to you, I request all other to please mute your microphone. There are some sound which is disturbing us. So I request all of you to mute your microphone excepting Dr. Chanakya. Over to Chanakya.
Thank you, Professor. Are you able to hear? Thank you. Are you able to hear me? Okay.
We can hear, yeah. We can see.
Okay, thank you very much. I feel it's my privilege, my pleasure and honor to give this vote of thanks. But Professor Sadhan Ghosh, having done a quadruple role of being an organizer, also thanking an individual speaker, being an MC, and the chair, since your video was on, we saw how much of busy you were. So you had taken a multiple role in this session. Thank you. It went off well, and especially having done something in a situation in this kind of COVID times. So I speak in the order of appearance. Professor Rene van Berkel of UNIDO gave us a very good direction as to where the world is heading. Very briefly, in 10 minutes, captured what would be our challenges, that in the emerging challenges. Mr. Rohit Kumar, IAS of MORD, also included that rural areas are now also having a lot of waste, and I'm sure he would have liked to talk about the Swachh Bharat Mission Rural in that. Thank you for giving us this direction. Then Professor Suranjan Das, in spite of his commitments and had to hurry, but thankfully for us had the time to inaugurate and release the book of abstract. And of course, in his talk, give us the direction that the societal angle, the society and the societal angle and the human angle to this solid waste management also should be given quite a bit of importance. Then, of course, our very good old friend, mentor, and person who was blessing us all the time with a lot of thoughts, Dr. C.R.C. Monty, the co-chair, gave us the keynote, and he really brought very nice interaction, the intersections between the circular economy and the kind of activities and the locations where these should be brought out, and more or less creating an agenda for the circular economy and SWM. Thank you. Shall I say old friend? Thank you, Dr. Monty. And then Dr. Onogawa from the IGS Japan brought in the strong connect between SWM and society and the social dimension that it involves. Looks like we have to bring in a lot more focus in this direction. Thank you for your advice. Dr. Nellis, again an old friend and a person who has been mentoring and helping us in the ICON from its very beginning, gave us an account of what's happening in Germany, in Europe, and the direction that where most of people are heading, largely into what is very oversimplified as a bio-based economy, which means very less is left out as waste. We had, thank you, we had Dr. Divi Rao, or Rao Divi, I guess that's the way it's pronounced, who had shared his experience from the industry perspective, value recovery approach, and I'm sure he's going to share a lot more details of this. Thank you very much. Dr. Alberto Nageri gave us a very heart-rending exposure to what is happening in the Philippines, where thanks to various man-made activities that have been leading to natural disasters, and how the 3R technologies are bringing back sustainability in there. We have 240 speakers, 240 papers, 700 participants from about 40 countries. We have a lot of our old friends and participants who are acting as chairs, hall managers, volunteers who are working behind the stage. Thank you, all of you. I'm sure you brought this to this kind of a stage. And behind all the Jadavpur University people, you find the most important people who are the sponsors for us, who've been helping us even in such kind of a difficult times, finding funds where economy is dwindling and still supporting an activity. Thank you, all your sponsors. And of course, we have had a lot of collaboration between each other. It's nice to see that we are coming back each time, every year, bringing something new, bringing something to this stage, making the 10th IconSWM conference very successful. I wish you a very successful, and also would like to share my heartfelt thanks to all of you, all your contributions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Chanika, you forgot to mention one thing, that the principal organizers, one of the principal organizers is, he is the heading, that Center for Sustainable Technology, Indian Institute of Science. The other partner is, principal organizer is Center for Sustainable Development and Resource Efficiency Management at Jadavpur University. Of course, I am the chief coordinator of that. So now I like to mention some of the things, and during that time, I can see Dr. Kare is here. So though vote of thanks is over, but still I request Dr. Kare to say a few words in this inaugural. Over to Kare.
Okay.
Kare is the chief scientist at Sintef, Norway.
Okay, thank you, Sadan, to giving me this opportunity, and thank you for involving us in this program. We are really looking forward to organize a parallel session tomorrow on the Opto-C project, Ocean Plastic Turning into an Opportunity in Circular Economy, together with UNEP, together with the Norwegian Embassy, together with our partners all around Asia. And to explain and explore the possibilities for further collaboration within these projects. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Khare. I now request to open your camera, please, so that they can take a photograph. And I'm just explaining.
Yes. Okay.
Please. Yeah. There are a number of sessions. We have three. Okay. We have three parallel sessions from 12:30 onwards. So you can enter any of the sessions in the hall 1, hall 2, and hall 3 by clicking the link to join in that particular hall. On the other hand, you cannot join simultaneously in two halls from one instrument. So in that way, from your laptop or mobile, you try to join only in one hall, and if you are interested to join in other hall, then switch off that and then go to other hall. We have a special session for Philippines, Bangladesh. I can see so many friends over here present who will be joining in the next session. Then we have session from African countries. We have sessions from Latin American countries, South and North, East and West. We have a program from Hungary. We have program for Russia. So there are number of focused sessions. We have session from Brazil and other countries. So in that way, there are number of sessions which are focused on specific country as well as some of the specific issues, like Optos is one of those, wastewater and Horizon 2020 another of those. The third is GCRF and circular economy. So you are invited to join in any of the sessions during these days. With this, I request once again the organizers to please display this book so that people can see it nicely. No, it's all right. All right. Whatever can be seen is good. And I hope that you have taken the photograph, the organizers. Now with this, I thank once again to all the people who are present now here and who are also observing through the live streaming program. So thank you very much. See you in the next session, which will be starting at 12:30 in hall number 1, hall number 2, and hall number 3. I request please be available at least 10 minutes before the program in the hall. Thank you very much, and let us leave for this program from this program. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, Professor Shadan Kumar Ghosh, for conducting the inaugural session. I would like to thank all the speakers of the inaugural session. And now, exactly at 12:30, we will start with the special session 1 in this hall, hall number 1, special session 1, and the others are requested as according to your wish. You can go to hall number 2 or hall number 3. You can check the schedule for whichever session you wish to join. But the first session is SS1, special session 1. That is a special session on Philippines we are having. And I request Dr. Alberto and Naperi to kindly remain in this hall as he will be chairing this session. Thank you. We will rejoin back, come back at 12.
Other two sessions, please announce the chair and request them to join there. Sutripta, you please announce the name of chairs in other two sessions and ask them to join.
Absolutely. I request I request Professor M. Nellis to join hall number 2. He will be chairing the technical session 1 on anaerobic digestion and composting. I request Mr. CRC Mohanty and Mr. Rao Divi to kindly join hall number 3. You can just check the schedule and there is a click to join option. You can just click there and directly join to hall number 3 where technical session 2 will be taking place.
And all the secretariat members are requested to please open the halls. Thank you very much. See you.
Okay. See you. Thank you.
Thank you. We rejoin back at
This conference will now be recorded.
I hand over the proceedings of this session to the hall manager of hall number 1, Dr. Konishko Sarkar, and to others in his team. Dr. Konishko Sarkar, kindly proceed, and I request Tejaswi Rana to kindly start the proceedings of special session 1.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sutripta. Tejaswi, we can start. So, start.
Hello, good afternoon. I, Tejaswi Rana, on behalf of International Society of Waste Management, Air and Water, and other organizers, organizing partners, and sponsors, welcome all delegates to this special session featuring paper from Philippines. It's an honor to cordially invite Professor Albert N. Naperi, President of Central Bicol State University of Agriculture, Philippines, to kindly chair the session. There are 2 disastrous typhoons in the last couple of weeks in Philippines, for which we are deeply concerned. I like to remind a few points to all present here. Participants are requested to mute microphone and close your camera. Speakers may be unmuted when requested. Please adhere to the timeline to avoid delay. Presentation for a speaker is 10 minutes and keynote speech 15 minutes. Question answer session will be at the end of session. Questions should be written in the chat box to a specific speaker. The chair individually will rate each presentation on the rating sheet provided to you. Chair kindly write the chair's summary of the session with a few key outcomes and present at the end of the session. Filled in rating sheet and chair's summary will be sent to us by email. I request all the presenters to kindly confirm their attendance in the chat box. Please make a note. I repeat, all the presenters kindly confirm your attendance in the chat box. Now I would like to request Dr. Naperi to chair the session. Sir, unmute your microphone and open your camera and start the session, please.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Philippines. Good morning, India, and good day to the rest of the world. Today, on behalf of the Central Bicol State University of Agriculture, we are hosting the special session for the Philippines in the 10th International Conference on Solid Waste Management Towards Circular Economy. As an agricultural university in this part of the country, we are committed to pursue quality education for sustainable human development. That is why our university is very delighted when the International Organization for Solid Waste Management, Air, Water, through the able leadership of the Chair and President, Professor Sadha Kumar Ghosh, named our university as one of their partners, and this makes our involvement and awareness in waste management become more strong towards the attainment of circular economy. But before this partnership with Professor Ghosh's organization, we have been involved to several activities and projects championing waste management disposal and reduction, and even advocating reduce, reuse, and recycle. In fact, the university had established the Environment Management Office that was now devolved to be a resilient center to strengthen our program towards waste management, more focus on agricultural waste productivity. Likewise, the university is advocating the promotion of organic agriculture as the organic center. We had it intensifying the production of agricultural waste into byproduct to lower the cost of farm inputs and increase harvest and production with a more sustainable farming technology, thus obtaining the balance of ecology. It is therefore our pride to provide you some of our research output that has something to do with agricultural waste utilization, disaster preparedness towards circular economy. To the entire participant in this special session for the Philippines, welcome to this activity, and may the good Lord give us unending blessings despite of the pandemic we are facing today. Good luck to all the presenters, and my congratulations to the organizers and to everybody in this forum.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to request Dr. Joni Elisa B. Abogado to please make the presentation. Please unmute and open the PPT and share the screen. Please start, and your allotted time is 10 minutes. Sir, please start your presentation. Yeah, thank you. Sir, please unmute your microphone, sir.
Good day, everyone. My name is Joanna Eliza B. Abogado, and I am with my co-researcher, Ms. April Ann A. Cañal, and we are from Central Bicol State University of Agriculture, Sipocot, Philippines. And we are here to present a research study entitled Mycelial Growth Performance of Pleurotus striatus and Bulbariella vulvacea in Common Kitchen Waste. To start, mushrooms are heterotrophic organisms that depend on the degrading lignocellulosic materials to support their nutrition. It is considered as functional food and nutraceuticals since it contains carbohydrate, fiber, protein, fats, vitamins, minerals, and nucleic acid according to Reyes et al. 2009. Additionally, it contains antifungal, antibacterial, antioxidant, and antiviral property as cited by Bilal et al. 2010. Moreover, mushrooms have the ability to transform nutritionally useless waste into highly acceptable nutritious food. It involves physical and manual labor that creates employment opportunities for the laborers and marginal section of the community. Two of the most cultivated mushrooms in the world are, first is the Pleurotus striatus or sideways oyster, also termed too as paddy straw, and these are the common mushroom species that is being cultivated throughout the world and thrives at tropical and subtropical countries. However, mushroom cultivation is limited, especially here in the Philippines. This is because there are necessary tools, apparatus, and media needed in cultivating such fungi. The common medium for the cultivation of the mushroom is the potato dextrose agar, which is too expensive for the small-time mushroom growers, wherein in every 500 grams of the PDA, it costs $90, or if we can convert it in Philippine peso, it costs 4,500 pesos, which is really costly. Thus, this study aimed to develop alternative culture media out of kitchen waste such as matured coconut water, rice wash, and corn decoction. Coconut water, rice wash, and corn decoction are waste from households that emit substances of eutrophication which contributes to environmental problems. Thus, this study aimed to determine the mycelial performance of Pleurotus striatus and Bulgarella bulbacea among coconut water, rice wash, and corn decoction media. Second is to evaluate the significant difference of mycelial growth of Pleurotus striatus and Bulgarella bulbacea among mature rice wash and corn decoction. For the methodology, agar blocks are collected from the pure stock culture of Pleurotus striatus and Bulgarella bulbacea from the culture collection of Agro-Industrial Research Building of CBSUA Sipocot. For the preparation of media and inoculation of test mushroom, 1 liter of matured coconut water and 1 liter of rice wash were added separately with 10 grams of white table sugar and 20 grams of white gulaman bar, and boiled until homogeneous mixture was attained. 1 kilogram of corn was boiled for 30 minutes in 1 liter of tap water. After the corn decoction is filtered, 10 grams of white table sugar and 20 grams of white gulaman bar were added and boiled until the solution homogenized. Each solution was volumed up to attain 1 liter of solution, then dispensed in an earthenware flask plugged with cotton and secured with aluminum foil. Prior to sterilization process, 0.1 m of sodium hydroxide or 0.1 hydrochloric acid was used to adjust the pH of the media of Pleurotus striatus and Bulgarella bulbacea into pH 8. Since the favorable pH for the growth of Pleurotus striatus and Bulgarella bulbacea is at pH 8. Then, the prepared media of Pleurotus striatus and Bulgarella bulbacea were placed in an autoclave for sterilization process at 15 psi for 121 degrees Celsius for 20 minutes. For the inoculation of test mushroom, the newly sterilized media were allowed to cool and solidify. Subsequently, using a 5 mm cork borer, 7-day-old 5 mm mycelial block was inoculated at the center of the newly solidified media. Each media were sealed with cling wrap. For the incubation of test media, the newly inoculated test media were placed in an incubation chamber under room temperature. The chamber was covered with black plastic since Pleurotus striatus and Bulgarella bulbacea grows luxuriantly at dark condition, according to Root et al. 2015 and Kalau et al. 2016. For the continuation, may I call in now my research partner, Ms. April Ann Kanyal, to discuss the result of the study.
Good day, everyone. I am April Ann Kanyal, and I am here to discuss the result of our research study. Shown on the figure is the mycelial density of Pleurotus striatus, in which after 8 days of incubation, matured coconut water was fully ramified with a very thick mycelial density. Moreover, rice wash media was fully colonized within 6 days of incubation with thick mycelial run, and lastly, corn decoction was colonized within 7 days with very thick mycelial growth. Elucidated in this graph was the daily mycelial growth performance in millimeter of Pleurotus striatus in common kitchen waste in terms of radius. On the first day, rice wash elucidated the highest mycelial growth of 2 mm, while corn decoction showed 1.75 mm, which is longer to 0.70 mm of matured coconut water. On the second day, rice wash revealed 8.67 mm and 8.33 mm for corn decoction that was higher to 2.58 mm growth of matured coconut water. While on the third day, mycelial run were recorded with 17.58 mm, 16 mm for rice wash and corn decoction respectively, and 8.67 mm on matured coconut water. Furthermore, Pleurotus striatus fully colonized the rice wash media after 6 days, which is faster than corn decoction that takes 7 days to be fully ramified, and followed by matured coconut water after 8 days of incubation. For the Bulbariella bulbacea, matured coconut water and corn decoction was fully colonized after 4 days of incubation with thick mycelial density. However, mycelial growth of Bulbariella bulbacea in rice wash media was
Extremely sorry to interrupt this wonderful presentation, but
shown
you
in
have
this figure
to
is the
wrap up
daily
kindly.
growth performance of Bulbariella bulbacea in common kitchen waste in terms of their use. On day 1, in terms of Bulbariella bulbacea mycelial growth, rice wash showed 2 mm growth, which was longer than corn decoction and matured coconut water with 1.70 mm and 1.67 mm respectively. On the second day, rice wash revealed 20.42 mm mycelial growth, which was longer to 10.58 mm of corn decoction and 12.83 mm of matured coconut water. Additionally, on the third day, rice wash the media with 42.50 mm mycelial growth, which is significantly longer as compared to 28.92 mm of corn decoction and 32.42 mm of matured coconut water. Conclusion, rice wash is an ideal media for Chlorotus striatus and Bulbariella bulbacea. Then there is no significant difference among the evaluated medias after 6 days of incubation for Chlorotus striatus. Rice wash is not significantly different than matured coconut water and corn decoction after 3 days of incubation for Bulbariella bulbacea. That's all. Thank you.
Thanks for your very nice presentation. Please mute the microphone and unshare the screen. I now request Dr. Ramona Isabel S. Ramirez to please make the presentation. Please unmute and open the PPT and share the screen. Please start, and your time allotted is 10 minutes.
Okay. Good day, everyone. I am Ramon S. Ramirez from the Central Bicol State University of Agriculture, Philippines. I am happy to share with you my presentation entitled Advocating Circular Economy, Pili Canarium obatum, Pulp Oil Isolation as IGP for Pili Processing Households in Bicol Region, Philippines. This presentation will convey to you a very important message, and that is pili pulp oil isolation can be an IGP for pili processing households who are producing certain quantities of pili pulp as a waste material. The objectives of this presentation is to discuss how the oil content of the pulp can be isolated, share ideas on how the oil can be processed into value-added products, and recommend entrepreneurial initiatives that may lead to IGP on pili oil. The household-based pili pulp oil isolation method is based from my completed research entitled Pili Pulp Oil Isolation from Bicol Pili Varieties. The innovation conceptualized from the existing pili pulp oil isolation methods are simplified for pili processing households. The method is used to investigate on the comparative yield of Bicol pili varieties and will be introduced as an alternative method of oil isolation. May I share to you, my dear friends, the research highlights and the technology generated. Based on my research, there are at least 3 existing pili pulp oil isolation methods. The first is the traditional method, which is commonly employed by pili processing households, and this method includes pulping, pressing, and extracting and then cooking. This is basically how the process is being done. The next method is the DUST method, introduced by the Department of Science and Technology. This is composed of simple cooking and filtration tools that process oil extracts from freshly harvested pili nuts using minimal heat. And the last method is enzymatic extraction. This involves three operations: pretreatment, extraction or oil release, and then oil recovery. It is characterized by an aqueous extraction that involves mechanical and enzymatic degradation of the cell walls of the oil containing the material. In this presentation, the oil containing the material is the pili pulp. Based on the features of the three existing methods of oil isolation, I was able to develop an innovative or alternative pili pulp oil isolation method, which I call Rampoy or Ramirez pulp oil isolation method. This method consists of three major processes: the extraction and fractionation, isolation, and oil recovery. The extraction and fractionation consists of sub-processes that starts from fruit soaking at a temperature of 50 to 60 degrees Celsius, peeling and pulping to separate the pulp from the nut, mechanized mixing using blender or similar material, pressing and filtration to separate the extract from the pulp or the fibers, scooping or separation of the oil layer, and decantation to separate the oil and water component of mixture and settle the suspended solid. One important feature of this innovative method is the introduction of a fermentation for 1 to 2 days, which is being employed after the mechanized mixing and then after pressing and filtration. The purpose of the fermentation for 1 to 2 days is to maximize the oozing of the oil that are embedded in the network of the pulp fibers, to maximize the oil yield. The extraction and fractionation process is followed by oil isolation, which involves only the evaporation process. And then afterwards, on the oil recovery, we do the oil measurement and oil storage. In this picture, you will see the actual process, the actual conduct of the processes involved in the innovative method until the oil was isolated from the pili pulp. My dear friends, may I introduce to you the Bicol pili varieties which are used in testing for the effectivity of the innovative method. In Bicol region, Philippines, there are at least 6 Canarium ovatum varieties that were certified by the Department of Agriculture, and it includes Orbace, Magayon, Lysa, Magnaye, Mayon, and Lanisa. My dear friends, in this table you will see the properties and attributes of the different Canarium ovarium varieties in the Bicol region. As you can see, there are differences in the nature of the pulp. There are also observed differences in the average fruit mass, as well as in the color and shape. But the test for significant difference on the average fruit mass indicated that these different Bicol varieties are not significantly different in terms of its average fruit mass. Generated also from the research that I conducted are the data in this table on the oil yield of the pulp from the samples of the Bicol Pili varieties. Using the innovative method, I was able to determine the average percent oil yield of the different varieties, and the data revealed that Lysa has the greatest potential of being a source of pili pulp oil, and this is followed by Magnite. Lysa having an average percent yield of 3.72%.
Excuse me, Professor, you have 2 more minutes to complete your presentation. Please.
Let me share to you now some pili pulp oil value adding and entrepreneurial initiatives that we can do. My dear friends, the isolated oil may be bottled and sold. Based on my survey, a small bottle of at least 50 ml may cost 200 pesos, that is the cheapest. This oil is commercially viable because pili oil has many uses, such as it can be used to moisturize your skin, and it can also be a material in certain products. Pili pulp oil may be processed into products such as wellness oil to be used in spa as a moisturizer, or it can be made into a soap or even just a topical for wounds and skin allergies. Based on my completed research entitled Wellness Oil from Pili Pulp Oil and Selected Medicinal Plants, the pili pulp oil value may be added by soaking medicinal plants in pure pili oil. It can be used as massage oil, a remedy for skin diseases, and many others, depending on the utility of the medicinal plant. I would like to recommend the following, my dear friends. 1. You can use garlic, peel it, and grind it, and soak it in 200 ml of pili pulp oil. It can be used as a massage oil to relieve body pain that was caused by cold, cough, and fever. You can also use ginger, peel it and chop, soak it in at least 200 ml pili pulp oil. You can use that as a massage oil to relieve pain due to rheumatism and inflamed veins. Citronella leaves and stem can also be chopped finely, soak it in pili oil to be used as an insect repellent. 50 grams of dried vetiver roots or leaves, add it into 20, soak it in 200 ml pili pulp oil. We can use it as an aromatic oil to relieve stress and make us relax. 50 grams of partially dried citrus peels, finely chopped. When soaked in 200 ml pili pulp oil, we can use it also as an aromatic oil to relieve our stress. It can also be a skin massage for its rejuvenation. 50 grams partially dried guava leaves, chop it finely, soak it in 200 ml of pili pulp oil. We can use it to treat
Professor, your allotted time is already over. Please conclude it.
My dear friends, we can also use other medicinal plants.
Okay, thank you for your excellent presentation. Please mute the microphone and unshare the screen. I now request Dr. Lesol Celerino B to please make the presentation. Please unmute, open your PPT and share the screen. Please start, and your allotted time is 10 minutes. Professor, please start your presentation.
Excuse me, sir. Dr. Lesol is not available, but we have another, instead of Dr. Lesol, we have Professor Berry.
So we can call him Venezuela
Pronounce the B. Okay, I now request Dr. Valenzuela Ordeneza B to please make the presentation. Please unmute, open the PPT and share the screen. Please start, and your allotted time is 10 minutes.
Good day. May I present to you our research entitled Mycelial Growth Performance of Paddy straw mushroom Vulvariella vulvacea in Banana Waste Media. So why do we have to conduct this research, and what is the main purpose of this research? To answer those questions, let me start with mushroom cultivation. So mushroom cultivation is a very reliable and profitable option to alleviate hunger and malnutrition in the world. Various regions cultivate mushroom to provide food, nutrients, medicine, generate income, and helps to clean the environment. To be more specific, paddy straw mushroom or Vulvariella vulvacea is the third most common cultivated mushroom in the world. Mushroom cultivation always starts with culture media. The culture media is a material that being utilized to provide nutrients for microorganisms, specifically fungi. And one of the most common materials that is being utilized in mushroom cultivation is the potato dextrose agar or the PDA. However, it is expensive for our local farmers. On the other hand, Saba banana produced 39% total production and 9.4 ton per hectare per year. Also, it has a high nutritional value and economic value. However, a huge amount of Saba banana production contributes a huge agricultural waste also, such as banana sugar stem, banana peel, and banana leaves. With this study aims to convert agricultural waste into a culture media for paddy straw mushroom production. In terms of media preparation, BP stands for banana peel, BL in banana leaves, BPS in banana sugar stem, and CW or the coconut water is the control. Banana peel, banana leaves, and banana sugar stem were decocted in a 1 liter of tap water and was placed in a Erlenmeyer flask. Then 10 grams of table sugar. Prior to sterilization, the pH level of each concentration were adjusted into 8 since according to Rez et al. 1998 that paddy straw mushroom grows luxuriantly at pH 8. Then, subsequently, it was autoclaved for 20 minutes at 121 degrees Celsius at 15 psi. Then concentration were placed in a sterilized Petri plate. Then, using a sterilized cork borer, 10 mm of mycelial block were inoculated at the center of Petri plates. Then after that, it was incubated at a dark condition. Based from the data gathered, the average temperature for the Vulvariella vulvacea in banana waste media is at 28.6 degrees Celsius and a relative humidity of 74.8%. For the mycelial growth increment of Vulvariella vulvacea in banana waste media for 50%, this table shows that the banana leaves performs the fastest mycelial increment, followed by the banana sugar stem, and lastly with banana peel. In terms of mycelial density, the banana peel performs the thickest mycelial density, followed by the banana leaves and banana sugar stem. For the 100% concentration, the coconut water performs the fastest mycelial increment, followed by the banana peel, and lastly by banana sugar stem. In terms of mycelial density, banana peel performs the thickest, followed by the coconut water, banana leaves, and banana sugar stem. In terms of mycelial density, the banana peel performs the thickest, followed by the coconut water, banana leaves, lastly of the banana sugar stem. In terms of number of incubation of Volvariella vulvaria in banana waste media, the table shows that the banana leaves performs the shortest period of incubation of 3 days, followed by the banana peel and banana sugar stem with 5 days. And it is found to be not significant. For the 100% banana waste media, the coconut water performs the shortest with 3 days, followed by the banana leaves with 4 days, banana peel with 5 days, and by the banana sugar stem with 11 days, and is it found to be not significant. For the conclusion, if the ideal culture media is based to the number of incubation, the shorter the period of incubation, the better, since it hastens to product. The banana leaves, 50% and 100%, performs the shortest period of incubation, and it is concluded as the ideal for paddy straw mushroom in banana waste media. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Please mute, and I will now call the next presenter, Miss Cecilia Ross Patian. Ma'am, please unmute and make your presentation.
I will present to you the research entitled Disaster Risk Reduction Management, Awareness and Preparedness of the Selected Public Secondary Schools in Ginubatan, Albay, a research by Cecilia Rosa Elpacham and Nika Joy Iscalo from Bicol University College of Agriculture and Forestry and Central Bicol State University of Agri. The study has 4 objectives. Specifically, it determines the personal profile of the respondents with respect to age, sex, educational attainment, seminars, drills, trainings, and other related activities attended by the principals, teaching and non-teaching personnel, and grade 10 students. Second is to identify disasters encountered by the respondents. Third, establish the level of the awareness and preparedness of disaster risk reduction management of the respondents. And the last one is test the DRRM awareness and preparedness dependency to the personal profile of the respondents. The study utilized a descriptive quantitative method of research to determine the level of awareness and preparedness of principals, teachers, non-teaching personnel, and grade 10 students on disaster risk reduction and management, and determine if it is dependent to their personal profile. There is 574 total number of respondents. In order to determine the number of respondents, the researchers used the Sloven's formula with 0.05 confidence level. For the research instrument, the researchers used a structured questionnaire which was divided into 4 parts. First part is the personal profile of respondents. Second part are the disasters they encountered. Third part is the rating scale for disaster risk reduction management awareness. And last part is the rating scale for disaster risk reduction management preparedness. To ensure the validity and reliability of the research instrument, a pilot testing of the questionnaire was administered on the Pariaan National High School, Kamalig, Albay. And based on the analysis of the pilot testing,
The researcher made corrections, adjustments, and additions to the research instrument. Under statistical treatment, the responses of teachers, non-teaching personnel, and grade 10 students were statistically analyzed with the required data of the study. Descriptive statistics such as Sloven's formula, frequency count, percentage, weighted mean, and chi-square were utilized and able to address the objectives of this study. Utilizing the statistical treatment, the salient findings were gathered. With an age ranging from 23 to 27 to 58 to 62 are aware or tend to be well informed and have adequate knowledge on disaster risk reduction management. Whereas the respondents with an age of 13 to 17 and 18 to 22 are slightly aware, it can be gleaned that adults or school personnel are much aware than students and young adults. For Table 2, with a mean of 2.56, male respondents are aware than female respondents, which are slightly aware, cited by 2.49. This takes for the conclusion that male being viewed as concerned for security and protection are more involved on social responsibilities on disaster risk reduction, which is unfavorable to female. On Table 3, on the level of awareness based on educational attainment, it can be seen that the level of the high school graduate has the lowest level of awareness with a mean of 2.3, rated as slightly aware, while the high school undergraduate level of awareness has a mean of 2.6, rated as aware. It implies that those who continue schooling can still acquire knowledge and exercise skills from the activities conducted to their school than those who stop. On Table 4, level of awareness in relation to the number of activity of DRRM attended, the highest mean of 4 was gained from respondent with 11 disaster risk reduction management related activities, which is described as highly aware, while the lowest mean of 2.13 was gained from respondents that have attended 2 disaster risk reduction related activities, which were described as slightly aware. It can be observed that the awareness level of 0 to 5 attended disaster risk reduction related activities were inconsistent. For Table 5, level of DRRM awareness of respondents, results showed that with a grand mean of 2.52, the selected public secondary schools in Ginobatan, Albay are aware on disaster risk reduction management. This means that they are well informed and have adequate knowledge on disaster risk reduction. Though results show that they are aware, they still lack awareness on hazard map, coordination with local Disaster Risk Reduction Council, emergency groups, updated emergency hotline, contingency plan, and recovery and rehabilitation interventions. These areas are the weakness of schools, which should be given attention. Fairness of respondents based on age, with a mean of 3.08 being the highest form of age range of 38 to 42 and 2.13 being the lowest from the age range of 48 to 52. It can be seen that there is an inconsistent result of preparedness. But age of respondents does not affect their level of preparedness. On Table 7, preparedness in relation to sex, both sexes are prepared on disaster risk reduction management. This takes for the understanding that the activities and program presented were administered, conducted, and practiced to both male and female respondents. Table 8, level of preparedness in relation to educational attainment. The highest weighted mean is 3.03 gained from those who earned doctorate units, and the lowest is 2 gained from high school graduate. This means that all the respondents are prepared. For Table 10, level of preparedness of respondents in Kinubatal Albay, the findings on the levels of disaster risk reduction management preparedness of each public secondary high school were presented in Table 10.
Excuse me, Professor.
One
Your
school
allotted
has
time is already over. Please try to continue.
which is slightly prepared. DNHS is a school located at a far-flung barangay, making it inaccessible for possible support. The rest of the school which garner a mean of ranging from 2.5 to 3.25 are aware. These schools are in areas near to needed resources. Hence, access to practicable resources may affect the preparedness of school. In general, public secondary schools are prepared, but the result in several indicators display that schools are slightly prepared on equipment and resources. Of the level of awareness of the preparedness of respondents to their personal profile, salient findings are presented. In the test of dependency of awareness in relation to age, the computed value derived from computing the chi-square test. Since the computed value of 13.116 was lower than the tabulated value of 14.113, statistical results show that awareness was not dependent on age. While in the test of dependency for preparedness in relation to age, results show that the computed value as cited by 11.216 is lower than the tabulated value 40.113. This means that the preparedness was not dependent on age. In the test of dependency on awareness in relation to sex, the result of 2.05 was lower than the tabulated value of 7.815. Thus, sex does not affect the awareness of the respondent. The disposition of male and female does not contribute to their knowledge on disaster risk reduction management. In the test of dependency on preparedness in relation to sex, the results showed that the computed value of 0.56 was lower than the tabulated value of 7.815, which means that preparedness on disaster risk reduction was not dependent on sex. In the test of dependency on awareness in relation to educational attainment, it revealed that the computed value of 34.239 was higher than the tabulated value of 28.869. This means that the educational attainment of individuals can affect their awareness on disaster risk reduction. While in the test of dependency on preparedness in relation to educational attainment, it was shown that the computed value of 18.880 was lower than the tabulated value of 28.69.
Allotted time is already over.
Please try that educational attainment has no effect on preparedness. The computed value as cited by 32.863 was lower than the tabulated value cited by 50.998. This means that the awareness is not dependent on the number of disaster risk reduction management related activities attended by the respondents. While the computed value cited by 46.323 was lower than the tabulated value of 50.998, it takes for the understanding that the attended disaster risk reduction management activities does not affect preparedness. In conclusion, the disaster risk reduction management awareness and preparedness in relation to the personal profile of respondents revealed that educational attainment affects individuals' disaster risk reduction awareness. It was therefore concluded that being aware does not necessarily mean of being prepared. There are intrinsic and extrinsic factors to consider to strengthen disaster risk reduction awareness and preparedness. Intrinsic factors were the willingness of individuals to participate in reducing vulnerability and their
The time is already over. Please conclude it. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Professor Tejaswi, Rana, please. May I do the presentations of the last two presenters? Thank you, Madam Patyam. And may I now call the next presenter, Mr. James Carlos Frias, and to be followed by the last presenter, Professor Dr. Atibo. Mr. James Frias, please present now your PPT. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am here to present to you our research entitled Antifungal Activity of Fruits, Leaves, and Seeds Extract of Sabapentandra against Coledotrichum cocodes. I am James Carlo P. Frias, your presenter from Central Bicol State University of Agriculture, Sicoco. According to Food and Agriculture Organization 2014, tomato or Solanum lycopersicum is a common food served on Filipino table and generally consumed raw or as component of salad, hard dishes, and beverages. It is also canned whole, dried, and even processed into paste and sauces. Tomatoes are sufficient in sustaining the needs of Filipino consumers as it favors temperature ranging from 21 to 24 degrees Celsius and well-drained soil rich in organic matter with pH ranging from 5.5 to 8, according to Tabun et al. 2017. However, various agricultural problems arises in agricultural management, and it carried to deteriorate good profit and production of tomato. Example of that is the inappropriate post-harvest management. Tomatoes are also vulnerable to fungal diseases. These diseases might include the Alternaria solani and the most common, the Coledotrichum cocodes or the tomato anthracnose. According to NETSI 2020, these diseases can be addressed by spraying fungicide. However, inorganic fungicides that are available in locality possess high price and detrimental hazard to farmers and ecological balance of farming community. That's why we look for plants that potentially manifest antifungal activity. The Sabapentandra or the silk cotton tree contains antimicrobial activity according to Parulikar 2017. And since it is abundant to Southeast Asia, including Philippines, then we used to study its antifungal activity against tomato anthracnose or Coledotrichum cocodes. Here is our research objectives. First, determine the level of effectiveness of seeds, fruits, and leaves extract of silk cotton tree. Second, evaluate the effectiveness of an extract at 20% and 30% concentration against tomato anthracnose. And third, determine the significant difference in the level of effectiveness of antimicrobial activity of an extract among concentration and period of observation. I am going to show you our research methodology. Part of the diseased tomato were taken into laboratory to prepare the mixed culture. Then after 5 to 7 days of ramification, we prepare the pure culture and look for the morphological identification as pattern to the study of Stoyanova et al. 2013. Morphological identification observed are the microsclerotia, the conidia spores, and the acerbuli. Then, cultivation of Colatotrichum cocodes broth media in 500 ml matured coconut water. Then the preparation of C. pentandra extract solution at 20% and 30% concentration. And we patterned that to the study of Azwanida 2015. Afterwards, washing off tomato in water with 10% sodium hypochlorite to remove the fastidious microorganisms that might affect our research conduct. Then, spraying of different test solution to tomato 5 minutes before spraying of C. cocodes. Daily observation on the manifestation of signs of infection to tomato, temperature, and relative humidity. Then observations were recorded and documented for 15 days. Here is our findings. Findings showed that no infections were noted to 20% of seeds extract from day 1 until day 15. On the other hand, the third day until 6th day of incubation, a significant of 0.05 results were elucidated in terms of rate of infection, wherein 80% of infected fruits were maintained from 3rd to 6th days. Moreover, the untreated were recorded to have 40% rise in infection from 60% to 100% from 3rd day to 4th day. As you can see on the figure, this is the figure for the infection rate of C. cocodes in tomato treated with C. pentandra seeds extract. You can see the 20% seeds and the 30% seeds in the control group. And as you can see on the 15th day, the 20% seeds were showed or elucidated higher significant on the effect of tomato or effect on the tomato anthracnose. On the first day, there is no sign of infection, but on the 4th to 5th day, the 30% seeds extract and the control group showed the infection rate, higher infection rate of C. cocodes. This is the figure showing the infection rate of C. cocodes in tomato treated with C. pentandra fruits extract, the 20% fruits and the 30% fruits and the control group. On the first day of observation, there is no signs of infection. However, on the 3rd to 5th day of observation, the control group and the 20% fruits extract elucidated a higher significant infection of Colatotrichum cocodes, while the 30% fruits extract showed 80% effectiveness on the C. cocodes. On the next figure, as you can see, here is the infection rate of C. cocodes in tomato treated with C. pentandra leaves extract. We prepared the 20% leaves extract, the 30% leaves extract, and the control group. As you can see again, just like the previous figures, on the first day up to 2nd day, no infection rate were recorded. However, on the 4th to 5th day, it is the 30% leaves and the 20% leaves extract showed higher significant infection on the C. cocodes together with the control group until the last day of observation. For our conclusion, the findings revealed that seeds extract of silk cotton tree has the most antifungal activity among leaves and fruits extract. It also showed that at 20% concentration, the seeds extract contains the most antifungal activity as compared to 30% concentration of seeds, leaves, and fruits, and even to similar concentration of 20% leaves and 20% fruits extract. It was also disclosed that there is a significant difference between concentration and period of observation of silk cotton tree extract, as the 20% seeds extract elucidated its level of effectiveness as antifungal treatment to tomato anthracnose from day 3 of observation until day 15. And For the last, the recommendation to prevent the sea cocodes infestation that may result to profit loss in tomato, farmers and vendors may apply seeds extract of silk cotton tree at 20% concentration as part of pre-harvest and post-harvest practices. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Frias. And the last presenter for this session, may I call in Professor Dr. Aris Atibo. Dr. Atibo, please make your presentation.
I will be presenting my paper entitled Biomass from Agricultural Waste for Renewable Energy in the Philippines. The Philippines is predominantly an agricultural country with 47% of its 30 million hectares of land area devoted to agriculture. The country's agricultural lands are dedicated to the production of food grains, food crops, and non-food crops. Along the way, the production and processing of such crops produce tons of agricultural waste that can be used for renewable energy. Among various agricultural crops, rice, coconut, and sugarcane are the most significant contributors to biomass energy resources. This study considers agricultural waste in the Philippines from the byproducts of the three major crops, namely rice, coconut, and sugarcane. Biomass is considered as one of the key renewable energy resources, both at the small and large scale levels in the Philippines. However, despite the potential of agricultural waste as a source of renewable energy, only limited studies are done along this line. Such information is ironic to the fact that Philippines is an agricultural country. This undertaking therefore analyzes secondary data on the production of biomass as a renewable source of energy from agricultural waste in the Philippines. With the current situation of the country in terms of energy use, it is quite beneficial to use sources of renewable energy like biomass. This type of renewable energy can be considered sustainable, especially that it mostly comes from agricultural waste. In fact, 14% of the world's energy is provided for by biomass, not only in the developing countries, but in industrial countries as well. Table 1 presents the biomass availability from the three major agricultural crops in the Philippines, namely rice, coconut, and sugarcane. As you can see in the third column, it shows the types of biomass for agricultural crops. For rice, it is categorized as rice hull and rice straw. For coconut, it is subdivided into the coconut husk, the shell, and the fronds. Whereas for sugarcane, it is subdivided into the bagasse and the trash. The staple food for millions of Filipinos is rice, which could explain why most agricultural lands in the country are devoted to rice. It is actually shown in the second column that around 4.2 million hectares of agricultural land is devoted to rice production. It is actually around 1.17 times bigger than coconut production areas, at 3.3 to 3.6 million hectares, and around 10 times larger than sugarcane production areas, which is around 380,000 to 480,000 hectares. Although the percentage of land utilization favors rice production, it yields the lowest biomass among the three. As you can see in the fourth column, rice production only yield around 1.95 to 2.14 tons per hectare, as compared to coconut, which is around 3.66 to 4.58 tons per hectare, where in fact sugarcane
Hello, Professor Aris. Are you done? You lost your presentation.
Yes, sir, it's not coming.
Uh, they remove GS presenter. That's why.
Have we lost connection with Professor Avito?
Hello,
There is.
Professor Aris. Yes, ma'am. Sutripta.
Yes.
Professor Aris lost his connection, I suppose.
Yeah, I think we can wait for him because this session ends at 2 a.m. in 2 p.m. India time. Okay, so maybe we'll wait for him for some time.
Yeah.
Dr. Sarkar?
We can wait for a little.
He is the last speaker, sir, of this session?
Yes.
Is he
yes.
Okay. So we can wait.
So definitely we will
Yes, Dr. Sarkar, we can wait for some time. Oh, he's back.
Yeah.
Professor Avito is back.
Dr. Aris, can you continue?
For a while, sir, because Luigi Lorenzo was removed as presenter. That's why. Hindi, walang PowerPoint.
Luigi is the presenter now.
Yes.
He is present.
Please allow Luigi to be back online as presenter so that Dr. Ativo can have his presentations continue.
Oh, that's great.
That's right, Countess. Table 1 presents the biomass availability from the three major crops in the Philippines, namely rice, coconut, and sugarcane. As you can see in the third column, it shows the types of biomass for agricultural crops. For rice, it is categorized as rice hull and rice straw. For coconut, it is subdivided into the coconut husk, the shell, and the fronds. Whereas for sugarcane, it is subdivided into the bagasse and the trash. The staple food for millions of Filipinos is rice, which could explain why most agricultural lands in the country are devoted to rice. It is actually shown in the second column that around 4.2 million hectares of agricultural land is devoted to rice production. It is actually around 1.17 times bigger than coconut production areas, at 3.3 to 3.6 million hectares, and around 10 times larger than sugarcane production areas, which is around 380,000 to 480,000 hectares. Although the percentage of land utilization favors rice production, it yields the lowest biomass among the three. As you can see in the fourth column, rice production only yield around 1.95 to 2.14 tons per hectare, as compared to coconut, which is around 3.66 to 4.58 tons per hectare, where in fact sugarcane yields a very high yield of 29.5 to 31.6 tons. per hectare. Even if sugarcane production is 10 times smaller than rice and 8.57 times smaller than coconut, sugarcane still yields the highest biomass per hectare. Among the 7 identified biomasses, as mentioned earlier, cane bagasse yields the highest volume per hectare at 15.2 to 15.8 tons per hectare, followed by sugarcane trash, which is around 14.3 to 15.8 tons per hectare, and coconut fronds at around 1.92 to 2.1 tons per hectare. The lowest yield is observed for rice hull at 0.95 ton per hectare. The total combined annual volume of all the biomasses range from 33 to 37 million tons. Now, Table 2 presents the electrical generation and power potential of agricultural waste based from the study of Tadeo in 2015, as cited by Caparino in 2018. Based on the study, the electrical generation was computed based on the averages from different sources, and that it is dependent on the biomass heating value and moisture content, as well as the electric efficiency of certain technologies. The power potential was based on a 320-day annual operation of the biomass plant. Data show that at a given volume, agricultural waste from coconut yield a higher electrical generation rate per kilogram than that of rice and sugarcane. Among all the plant biomass, cocoa shell yields the highest electrical generation at 1.758 kilowatt hour per kilogram, followed by cocoa husk at 1.398 kilowatt hour per kilogram, with sugarcane bagasse being the lowest at 0.316 kilowatt hour per kilogram. Comparing the plant biomass against animal biomass, which is represented by chicken manure and pig manure, data show that plant biomass has a higher electricity generation rate per kilogram than animal biomass. It is interesting to note that the lowest recorded data from plant biomass is still greater than animal biomass highest electric generator. Recorded power potential data is greater in animal biomass because of the higher initial volume of the said waste. This may show that plant biomass is better than animal biomass in terms of electrical generation on a per kilogram basis. Going now to Table 3. This table summarizes the cost of operation for rice hull and bagasse biomass plants. Data are taken from the study of the Society of the Advancement of Technology Management in the Philippines in 2001. This table shows different setups for biomass from rice hull and bagasse in a biodigester on various capacities. As you can see here, the rice hull biomass is represented with two capacities. The first one is 3 kilowatts, and the second one is 6 kilowatts. The bagasse biomass, the first one is with a capacity of 220 kilowatts, and the other one is a 94 kilowatt plant. And the biodigester, the commercial biogas digester of 18 kilowatt capacity and an elevated tank of 6 kilowatts. As you can see in the third column, investment-wise, using bagasse costs a lot compared to rice hull. The figures are based on various capacities. Thus, the best indicator to look at is the levelized cost per kilowatt hour to determine how agricultural waste fare to one another. Comparing the two aforementioned plant biomass, the rice and bagasse, the levelized cost per kilowatt hour is lower in bagasse than rice hull. In bagasse, it's around 1.82 pesos per kilowatt hour to around 1.95 pesos per kilowatt hour, compared to rice hull of around 2.98 pesos to 2.45 pesos kilowatt hour. Equating the result of plant biomass to biodigester, which is mainly fueled by animal biomass, The cost per kilowatt hour of biodigester is almost doubled compared to rice hull and almost triple in bagasse. Unfortunately, there is no available data for coconut biomass fuel plants. As for the conclusion, with the current situation of the country in terms of energy usage, it is quite beneficial to utilize sources of renewable energy like biomass. The Philippine government was not able to maximize the production of biomass from this waste, a source of renewable energy to its fullest potential. And lastly, there is actually a need for further research and development on the use of agricultural waste in terms of energy production. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation. Salamat po.
Thank you very much, Professor Aris Atibo, and thank you very much to all the presenters. So may I now open the floor and yield some queries or any inquiry to the presenters. May I now open? Anybody would like to throw questions or yield inquiry?
Sir, we got one question from Professor Kumar Ghosh. The question is, what is the amount of agricultural waste burning in open in Philippines, and what measures you are taking in the country?
Is that questions?
This is the question, sir. I'm repeating the question. Question is, what is the amount of
Hello,
agricultural waste burning in
would like to
Philippines?
answer the question regarding the amount of agricultural waste burning in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Well, based on estimates by the Industrial Technology Development Institute of the Department of Science and Technology in the Philippines, around 250 kilograms of rice straw and 100 kilograms of rice hull are burned per ton of rice produced. Thus, this comes to a total of around 5 million, more than 5 million tons of rice straw and rice hull combined burned every year. That's actually the data that we gathered here in the Philippines. Around 5 million tons of rice straw and rice hull burned every year. For the other types of biomass, we still don't have initial data on that.
Okay. And what kind of measures you are taking in the country?
What are the bagasse utilization? Sorry.
Yeah, Dr. Naperi, can I interact?
Yes, Professor Goss, please.
Yeah, I know that there are a lot of burning of agro waste in Philippines, Thailand, India, and many other countries. So I want to know that there in Philippines, what is there any specific rule to curb this open burning of agricultural waste and utilization of those either for generating energy or any other thing?
Yes, Professor Goss. In fact, the Philippine government has a law. We have a law calling burning of any kind is prohibited here in the Philippines, and there is a higher penalty for those violators who still conducted burning process of their wastage and their households. And especially burning rice straw is prohibited here in the Philippines.
Okay, okay, great. And the similar way, the bagasse, you have a number of energy recovery facility from bagasse and any
Yes,
support from government? Yeah, please go
yes,
ahead.
Mr. Professor Aris, would you like to explain further?
Hi, hello. The question was, what are the baga's utilization for recovery of energy and
Yeah.
any subsidy? Actually, as based on my presentation, there's really dirt in with regards to the utilization, with regards to the research on this matter. It's really been underutilized, although data shows that how the potential of the bagas and other, especially the bagas, but we are really underutilized, and it really needs a lot of government intervention in order to maximize the use of this agricultural waste.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Professor Boss, any other queries from the participants?
Now, sir, there is a question. I would like to request to kindly present the chair summary and conclude the session within 10 minutes. And there is an announcement before we leave the session. I request all the delegates to open your camera to take a photograph altogether. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Goss. Thank you so much to all the presenters and participants to this special session in the Philippines. I would like now to make the summary. First, we have 6 presenters, and the first presenter was Miss Abogado. He presented the mycelia growth performance of Pleurotorus austriatus, volvacea in common kitchen waste. This study focused on developing another medium in growing mushroom. They used coconut water instead of potato dextrose agar, which is very much expensive. You know, coconut water is almost free here in the Philippines and just being disposed frequently. But now, of this output, it added value to this coconut waste, water waste. The second presenter discussed about, presented by Dr. Ramona Ramirez. She discusses about advocating circular economy on pili pulp oil isolation as income generating projects for pili processing households in the Bicol region, Philippines. This is a research activity with an extension program. It utilized the waste of pili pulp to produce oil. You know, oil produced is the byproduct that is used as an ingredient in cosmetics, massage oil for wellness. It commands high price and a source of additional income to the household. The next presenter uh, is Miss Derry. She presented the mycelial growth performance of paddy straw mushrooms in banana waste. This study is utilizing wastage from the banana peeling, the leaves, and the stem, which usually considered as waste once the banana tree is harvested here in the Philippines. But this study utilized those banana waste, serving as medium in producing straw mushrooms. So another undertaking of producing byproduct out of wastage. And the fourth research presenter was Miss Cecilia Pacham. She presented the disaster risk reductions management awareness and preparedness in the selected public secondary school in Ginubatan, Albay. You know, the Albay province is prone to disaster, hence this study is most needed. And the result would serve as reference to indulge in future research and more focus on how to prevent rest reduction, especially rest produced by human waste, to contribute to circular economy. And then the next one was presented by Mr. Frias, the antifungal activity of fruits, leaves, and seeds extract of Sheba petraba against Colitarium cocodes. This is a research that utilizes fruits, leaves, and seeds of silk cotton, serving as antifungal substitute. Hence, conventional drugs is commonly high in cost. Since raw materials of silk coffee tree is abundant here in Bicol in the Philippines, and sometimes it turned only into waste, hence this utilization studies was made. And the last one was presented by Dr. Aris Atibo, the status of biomass utilizations from agricultural waste in the Philippines. This is an assessment of a main agricultural waste in the Philippines and its potential to generate power and reduce cost in the household through renewable energy. So to all, again, to all the presenters, to all the participants, I would like to convey my sincerest thanks to organizers headed by Professor Goss. Thank you so much. This is Dr. Alberto Naperi, the chairman of the Special Sessions for the Philippines, calling for the end of this session, and God bless us all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your remarks. Now we close the session. Our next session will open from 2:30 Indian time. We request. We request all the participants to please join the next session at 2:30 Indian time.
Professor Naperi, please send the chair summary. Please email the chair summary to 10th Icon SWM.
Yes, madam, I will do maybe tomorrow because I will make the computations as well of the ratings of the presenters, and I'll have to encode it to my computer and print it before sending it to your email by tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It has been so nice of you. কনিষ্ক স্যার স্যার আছেন? হ্যাঁ, আমরা কি এখন মিটিংটা লিভ করে যাব, আবার 2:30-তে জয়েন করব, না এটা অন রাখবো?
হ্যাঁ, না আমরা এখন এটা ক্লোজ করে দেই।
আচ্ছা,
2:30-তে আবার অন করে দেব।
আচ্ছা, 2:30 এর আগে, মানে 2:25, 5 মিনিট আগে।
2:25 we will open again.
Okay. So the room is being closed now. Thank you so much, Professor Naperi.
Thank you so much.